Hello and welcome to Straight Talking with Sian Horn. It is my first Straight Talking podcast and we are here in Republic of Work, which is our HQ for the club and our sponsors for our podcast. So I couldn't have done the first podcast with anybody else but the manager. Frank, welcome.
Thank you very much, Anne.
I'm delighted to have you.
I'm delighted to be here. It's my very first podcast.
I know. I just said actually before we start, in fact, it's probably on the video, that I've popped a lot of podcast and live cherries in the last 10 months. And look, just sit back, relax. It's just two pals having the chats. Maybe not the chats that we always have. But,
We keep it PC.
Yeah, you can. Well, you can go. You can say what you like. It's called Straight Talking for a reason. So Straight Talking, how it works. We actually split this into 4 different sections on our podcast. But today, I just want to start with you and your story. So where did it all begin for you business-wise?
Okay, Fido. I suppose I went to CIT. I studied mechanical engineering back in 2007. I lasted 3 years of mechanical engineering. And both myself and my girlfriend, Sue, was actually studying in Mary I, and we both had this brainwave of going, come here, we need to get out of here. Yeah. So we jumped onto a plane, went out to Bali for 2 months, and then spent a year in Australia. And I suppose where I first dug into business was when I led a sales team in Australia. Okay. Now, you'd never believe it, but I had a sales team of door-to-door knockers. So I was one of the most...
I'm such a child.
I know.
Go on.
I know. But you think straight away you hear a door knocker, it's like, oh, God.
I know. Well, no, I wasn't thinking that actually. I was thinking knockers, but I'm so 1970s.
Oh, knocker.
I'm so childish, but never mind. No, so anyway, back to business. Here we go.
I had a team of 10. Of door knockers, really, really successful. I've the gift of the gab, so I'm well able to chat. So knocking on doors in Australia and they're hearing an Irish accent, it was like, wow. So I grew the team, and it got really, really good. I was getting sponsorship, and my sponsorship fell through because I was only working for the guy I was working for. I was working for 10 months. He was only 11 months in business, so he couldn't show a full financial year. So we packed our bags. Left Australia. I was going to stay on and save and buy a house and all that kind of stuff back in Ireland, but Sue had has a little nephew, and needed to see him and get out of it. So we came home and we came back to the family business. So Sue's folks had a number of weight loss clinics. Sue has qualifications in nutrition. I have background in working in the gyms. Yeah. So we just fell right in. I was the manager for the clinics out in Ballincollig and in Limerick, and Sue was kind of more of the Cork area. So we had 6 clinics between the two of us.
Wow, okay. Busy.
Busy. A super company, and fantastic people we worked with. Great franchise that it was. We actually had the biggest share in the franchise. We had 6, nearly 7 clinics at one point. There was 32 in the country, so we had the majority of. Yeah. And people were knocking on our doors saying like, what are you doing? How are you doing it? So we were kind of the pace setters. So I was there for 6 years, yeah. And we were made redundant. So we signed clauses and all that fun stuff where we, in working in health and fitness, that's what you have to do, so that when you're leaving and moving on, you can't take all the clients with you. Yes. So I couldn't work in health and fitness for 6 months after. Now, bear in mind, we got married in December.
I just have to stop with that.
Yeah.
That clause, though, surely if you're made redundant, it's different than if you leave the company, gardening leave. Yeah.
It was a tricky one just because it was a franchise.
Okay.
Long story there, but it worked out better for us to just to move on. Yeah.
Otherwise, I was going to get on it. But go.
We moved on and we got married in December. We were made redundant in November. So it was a kind of a funny time. It was great because we were off. We had a month on the run up to the wedding. Sue fell into a job after the wedding, and I was like, what am I going to do? All I kind of knew was health and fitness and gyms and all that fun stuff. And I saw, it was my mother and father-in-law saw an ad on Facebook And I said, like, this guy DC Callahan worked with Pat Phelan and all these really big names, and they sold this company for 44 million. Do you know what, Frank? Knock on the door and see what he's up to. You'd never know who his network
Absolutely.
or whatever. So I was coming down the mall, and I was told about the ad on a Tuesday lunchtime. So I went straight home, threw on the suit, like you're supposed to do, right?
Absolutely.
Suited and booted.
I always forget that bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Polished the shoes. I'm telling you now, I had the cufflinks, sparkling, right? Got onto the mall, got down to number 12, and then saw this lovely sign in the window saying, not open till February. Bear in mind, this was January.
Okay.
Pallets inside the door, dust, builders, all this. Is like, oh my God. So turn around and look who I see but DC Callahan walking towards me. And I went over and I said, hiya DC, how's it going? As if I knew him.
Okay, I was going to say, did you know him?
No.
Okay.
And he goes, hiya man, how are you? And I says, DC, come here, you've got a job going, I'd love to know more about it. And he goes, yeah, I just put it up. Come on away and I must show you. So I got the lap of honour. Now, bear in mind, like, Republic of Work is here for nearly 4 years.
Yes.
DC got the keys in December 2016, and this was January 2017. So it was grey carpets and white walls, and there was one sofa.
Wow.
And he was sponging Wi-Fi off the Imperial. Sorry, the Imperial.
I remember that actually.
And we're just sitting on these two sofas, and we're just shooting the breeze. And I was like, okay, he's talking at me for an hour. It's time now that I start talking at him, and two of us can talk. So
yeah, you got.
We were yapping away for 2 hours, and he said to me, he said, look, I've a furniture delivery coming tomorrow. It's coming from IKEA. There's 14 tons worth of furniture coming. And I'm like trying to quantify, like, what does 14 tons of furniture look like?
Is that? Yeah, absolutely.
And I said, so you've no staff. It's coming tomorrow. You put up an ad today for staff. I goes, okay, so I'll start tomorrow. And he goes, great.
Brilliant. I love it.
And
so
off he
tell
went.
me though, like, obviously, like, I know you both, and you're both, yes, you are both talkers, but like real different sort of business backgrounds. So where was your common ground there?
I think with myself and DC, I was able to understand DC.
Yes.
DC is an incredible guy. He's like, he can stand in front of a stage with 1,000 people in front of him. I can stand in front of 10 people and talk to him. I can't look down a camera, but yet I can talk to you for hours and hours. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're two different personalities. So I think we were kind of chalk and cheese. We gelled very, very well. I was able to fill the gaps where he was really kind of maybe poor at, and vice versa. So I was able to do all the kind of schmoozing and all the tours and break the ice with people, whereas he was kind of like the big heavy hitter as such, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You are very different personalities. I think it worked very well.
Yeah, and you know what, like, we're the best of buddies and all of that. Yeah. So it was a good start, and I suppose from there we said, right, okay, what kind of people do we need? And we kind of needed, like, we didn't kind of want to have like a skill set as such that we were looking for. We kind of wanted like a mix of people who can kind of do a bit of everything. Like, for example, like Caroline is here. She just came in after me in February of 2017. Caroline has a license to drive a speedboat. Okay. She has a degree in photography, but yet she was our events manager. And I would pick no better woman to run an event than Caroline Kennedy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So she's a very diverse, and we've a great mixed bag inside here, to be fair. Like, I mean, even with Yvonne's a superstar. You know the TV series Suits?
Yeah.
So in Suits, you've got our main man, and he has the secretary.
Harvey
Spector.
Yes, funny enough, I remember his name.
Yeah. He's the secretary.
Yes.
And she can actually see his next move.
Yeah.
And myself and Yvonne have that.
Okay.
She said, did you forget? I'm like, oh God.
But that's the key of business, isn't it? You find everybody that has your, I don't need anybody that can do all the stuff I can do.
Exactly.
I need all the people surrounding me to do all the stuff that I'm rubbish at.
Exactly. And fill those gaps, do you know what I mean? And like, we've such a strong team now, and it's after taking us quite a while to get there.
Yeah.
And I suppose COVID, in a way, let's go into COVID later, but it really kind of solidified the team, because we are all very much people's people, and we like to be around people, whereas we had to learn how to work completely different.
Absolutely.
Over the last 9 months, and it brought us actually closer together.
that would bring me on to actually a fantastic subject about co-working, which we're going to actually do in our second episode. So thank you for now. And I shall speak to you in about 1 minute.
Brilliant.
Hello and welcome to Straight Talking with myself, Sian Horn. And we are coming to you today from our Club HQ, which is the Republic of Work on South Mall in Cork. And I'm here with the manager. Amazing. Frank, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
It's so weird, isn't it? I will, if anybody tuning in and doesn't watch the video and isn't part of the club, we actually... we haven't left the room, but we like to put it into 4 subjects. But I think it's good. It's short, it's sharp, and that's really what I wanted to do with Straight Talking, make sure that people in business could get the information that they needed when they have a short period of time to do it. So.
Yeah, nice and snappy.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be talking all about the effect of 220 and what it's done to co-working spaces, the benefits and the downfalls, I suppose. So give us a little inkling of what's happened here in the last year.
So, if we go back as far as February, we had great numbers. I mean, I billed for my biggest month since I'm here in Republic Work. We were talking about a second, third and fourth location.
Yes.
We went viewing, real momentum there. We were at 96% occupancy. Just to give the listeners a kind of an overall synopsis of Republic Work, I suppose we have space for 80 dedicated desk members, so that would be your 9 to 5 office space. We've space for 60 in our hot desk area, and then we've 5 private offices. And we're at nearly 96%. So it was funny, we had IDA tours, and when the IDA would come, we were like, okay, polish everything, air freshener. And the lads were ringing up and they'd say, like, come here, got a great company coming in from the US. I'm like, look, there's really no point in coming in because we're at occupancy. I've only 6 desks remaining. Like, this is rock and roll stuff here. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
I didn't think I'd ever get to that point. But we're at a really, really good place. And I suppose we established ourselves with a nice brand and a nice, like, I suppose people look at us from the outside in and they see activity. They see a community. They see loads of happening. Like with our lunch and learns on Tuesdays, the office hours that we offer our members on Fridays, and then the simple stuff of like the yoga on Thursday, and you know, all of that kind of stuff. So there's always activity, there's always hype, there's always a lot going on.
But you back the right things as well. So, like for instance, obviously you've come on as a sponsor for the club, which is all about women in business, which was just amazing. We kind of had that chat on the right day. We were in the right place at the right time.
I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was amazing actually, because I'd arranged to meet you at 9.
That's
I was
right.
like, right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to just pitch this idea because I could see such a need for it. From doing my lives every day, just the women that were on the lives and they just started talking to each other, and I was like, oh, I have to do something about this. And I came to you and you were like,
well, so it was really funny because when you had emailed, I think it was over the weekend.
Yes.
It was late over the weekend, and I had a dream the night before because I was looking
not
at...
of me.
No, just to clarify.
I know.
Not this time. Not that dream. So I had a dream that I had been looking at LinkedIn, and I saw a post that somebody had shared of the effects of COVID-19 on women in business, and I was absolutely appalled that like they're at home working or and minding kids and like doing all the normal day-to-day stuff and then running a business or like working remotely or whatever the case may be. I'm like, how in God's name? I get home from work in the evening and I'm like, all I want to do is kick off my shoes and jump onto the couch.
But you have 2 small
But I
children.
have 2 small children and a wife who's also been at home for the last 9 months.
Yeah. So there's only 1 pair of shoes getting kicked off.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Do you know, so it's so bloody full on. So being able to be given the opportunity to jump on board with you guys here, I think 2021 is going to be a rock star of a year.
Absolutely. But I just remember the timing was just because you'd read that.
It's like, oh my God.
And I came in, you were like, oh my God, look at what I had a dream about last night. And I was like, okay.
Snap.
Yeah,
we're in.
It's meant to be. Let's get this going. But yeah, no, I agree. I think next year is going to be exciting, really exciting. And not only that, like launch. Let's just talk about launch a little bit because for people in small business, and I know I've been talking about it as much as I can on my social media platforms and everything, but an amazing opportunity.
Incredible. I mean, like, coming on board with such strong partners as well, like BKK, you've got the guys in RDJ, you've got Mariette Foley, like, she's incredible. We just got the guys from Endeavour coming on board with us as well. Like, we've got Urban Design, Stormtime Digital, like, there's loads of them, and such a powerhouse. And do you know what? It was such an easy sell. Do you know? Like, I suppose when Emer from BKK got onto me, she's like, Frank, we're looking at doing this event, and you know the typical pitch, like, it's kind of tiptoeing, and I'm like, let's just get this out, let's just go for it. And we're putting it together 6 weeks of really high-end kind of classroom style, but like practical tips. Do you know what I mean? Like, what you actually need to know in business. None of this like hand-holding stuff, and show me your business plan and let's shine that up really nice. Like, let's get to the nuts and the bolts of it. So, and then I suppose the prize is something to talk about too, with 25 grand of services towards the end. So you'll have your desk in Republic of Work, you'll have your accounts through BKK, you've got RDJ doing all your and then Muriel jumping on board as well and doing your marketing strategy for 12 months. Like, I'd do that.
You do it just for that, yeah, absolutely. And I think people forget, like, co-working spaces are so important, not just for what they provide and the flexibility of it and everything, but actually the people that you meet within these four worlds, for me, are another little network.
Totally. And I suppose, look, there's a number of spaces in Cork and Munster and places that are popping up, and it is becoming more and more common that co-working spaces are coming up. And it's actually great because of COVID, I've never, like, I suppose I never have to explain what co-working is ever again.
Yes.
Do you know, people now understand, like, what's working remotely? Oh,
yeah.
There you go. Everybody did it for the last 9 months. Yeah. But no, like, I suppose hubs like ourselves have an energy, they have a community, we have an ecosystem here of like-minded people. No, we do have the corporate guys who are coming in, they come in their suit and tie, but within a week you see them taking off the tie and the top collar's opening and the guard is dropped, and that's how you kind of network with people way more. I hate actually using the word network.
Do you?
I think it's,
But you know, it's funny enough. So I was reading lots, obviously, before we started the club, and it is a women's network. But like, I've always, when I present and talk to people about networking, I've never seen it as networking.
Exactly.
Because I hate those things that you go to and they're like, give me 2 referrals and I need to ring 2 of your friends today. I'm like, oh my God, I come out in hives.
Yeah.
For me, networking is making new friends.
Totally.
And actually sharing best practice and sharing ideas. And every time, like, I've just been upstairs here, I met, Jay Woodard, we're having a chat about marketing, and I've bumped into the guys from Legit Fit, we're chatting about health and fitness, because, and then Jack is up there, Jack Cossack, and I'm like, Jesus, there's everybody in here today. But it's great. So you're talking different kinds of business all the time, and everybody's coming up with ideas. Co-working is magical, I think.
Totally. I mean, like, if you were to rent your own office space and you could paint the walls whatever colour you want and have all the fast Wi-Fi and all that, it's still not the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have an atmosphere, you have an energy. It's like going into your favourite restaurant. You go there because, number one, the food. But if the service was crap, you wouldn't go back there. No. Do you know? Nice ambience, nice environment. Same story here. Do you know? And that's why people keep coming back to us.
Yeah, you're all right, Frank. So tell me though.
I'm in the back office.
Just tell me though, like, when it comes to this year though, like, we're talking about February, 96%.
Yeah.
Turning people away. Obviously, then the first closure came in March. Where is the business at now, and how do you see it progressing? Yeah,
well, I suppose, look, to give you the numbers on the last couple of months, like, thank you to the loyal members that we have. Yeah. Because I was able to reach out to every single one of them individually, and we met each other halfway. Do you know what I mean? They stuck with us. The numbers did drop naturally. So, like, the 1-man, the 2-man band, unfortunately, they can work from home at the kitchen table. Slightly bigger guys, the 4 or 5 people. They stuck with us and we were able to meet on the middle and all of that. But I suppose, like, bouncing back, like, we were closed for 80 days. So it was difficult. We moved everything online. We had coffee mornings every morning. We had quizzes on Thursday nights. And it was great fun and it lasted, but I think everybody zoomed out at this point. But when we came back the 8th of June was quiet. July, people are still nervous. But we came into September, it was like the kids went back to school. It was like, hooray.
Yeah, no, it was important.
I can go back to the office, you know what I mean?
And not only that, even people that had been told then to work from home. Like for myself, like I can work from home fine, but to come in here 1 day or 2 days a week, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
And actually productivity is much better.
Totally, because you have a purpose. Do you know, like I think like everybody's done it, and like I do feel for the people who are working from a box room or sharing a kitchen table in a flat or whatever. But I think having a shower at 8 o'clock in the morning, getting the bus into work at 8:30, and starting work at 9 and working till 5 in a place like here, you're going to do your most productive work within that day.
Absolutely.
Totally. But I saw in September we saw a huge increase in members. We had 14 new companies sign. We did a Black Friday. That was a game changer. Thank you, Owen, our marketing man here in Republic of Work.
Well, it was an unbelievable Black Friday.
Yeah, it was very good.
I know I put it out on the club, and I know at least 2 or 3 of the girls zapped it up quickly.
Like we've had 30 new members since September.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, you know what I mean? And I see co-working as like the new norm. You know, everybody's talking about the new norm where masks are on the place. Yeah. I see co-working being a part of that, you know what I mean?
Brilliant. Which will bring us on nicely to our next section. Hello and welcome. This is so strange, isn't it? For those that are tuning in and have only listened to this one as their first podcast, you will know that we still haven't left the room. But this is episode 3 with Frank, and we're going to talk about the future of work, I suppose, how things will change forever from the last 10 months. So, Frank, what are your thoughts on the changes that will happen?
So, there's a number of them. I think Republic Work is number one going to get really, really busy. We're going to go back to the good days of February of 2020. But it's going to be a part of I think the workplace is going to be a part of culture. At the moment, you look at what's happening. People are working from home. They're going into the office, like cycling in pods or whatever it may be, where they're doing 2 days in, 3 days at home, and that's a new model. That's called a hybrid model. So it's working. People are actually seeing that productivity is increasing with their staff. But I suppose, like co-working spaces going to be even more popular. I've even seen there's 3 after opening up in Limerick and Limerick County since COVID and since the lockdown to provide that service, because it is really important that people have the ability to go someplace and interact with people. I know an awful lot of office environments aren't fit for purpose right now. Like you might have 50 people working in your office. It's only suitable for 20 people with social distance guidelines and all of that. So the ability for those 30 people to maybe be offloaded into a co-working space where you can meet your colleagues and grow your network.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing, isn't it? Because everybody is definitely, I think, funny enough, actually, in February, I did a talk at the Dialogue Code, which was all about different changes in business over the next 2 years. And they invited 2 headliners from the 4-day work week.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about how productivity had just gone through the roof in his business, but he let his staff design the 4-day week and how it would work.
Yeah.
And now this guy had 1,700 staff. So
Whoa.
It's a big company. But productivity went through the roof when they were in control and they policed the 4-day work week.
Okay.
It was so interesting. And then obviously, literally 10 days later, our first lockdown came and everybody started working from home. And I was like, oh my God, everything we were trying to prove happened. Maybe there was a reason, everything happened. But the one thing you can never replace is human contact. And the one thing that big corporates are worried about all the time at the moment is mental health for their staff. So I think the co-working situation, like you said, where you can go in once a week and work with a small team, that just seems to be the solution.
Totally. I mean, my brother-in-law, he works with 12 on his team, and he told me up until recently, since the new guidelines came out, but he hadn't seen his colleagues, physically seen his colleagues in something like 8 months.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think being able to chat like this is incredible. Do you know what I mean? And even with our first lockdown, and we closed the doors in Republic Work for 80 days with the first lockdown. But I found it tough. I'm blessed. I have 2 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife at home. But it's nice to go to work. You know what I mean? And meet people and chat with people, because like staring at the same four walls. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever been so busy as I was in that lockdown.
Yes.
Because you're on the phone, you're emailing, you're talking to every single members.
So you can say around my house doing my garden. Because in Frank's spare time, he's an amazing gardener. And he did come and help me out during the summer, which I really appreciate. My only concern and my only worry, I suppose, is the loss of the cities. Like I do get concerned when I look at Cork City and I see the shops closing. And I know, like for instance, on this street, a lot of business, a lot of commercial businesses were here and they have moved out because all their staff are working remotely. I know you step in, so does that mean that you will get bigger? Do you think?
That would be the plan, but I can't see us getting bigger within the city. I think we'd probably facilitate and cater for people like in the outside of town. You know what I mean? Like your Middleton, your Kinsale, your commuter belts. Your Clonakilty, that direction. To open up again in the city, I don't know.
And I'm presuming the thought process behind that is the fact that we've probably learnt that we don't need to travel into cities to work.
You don't, but at the same time, you don't want to discourage it. I mean,
yes.
There's something so nice about getting onto the mall. I remember I told my mum I got the job on the mall. She goes, "You're working on the mall."
No, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
And there is something. I mean, I love, look, I won't bore you all with it, but you know how I love Cork City, and I really do. And there is something about walking through Cork City during the day and the buzz. And
going over to the English market and getting and you've all these local suppliers, and like that, the heart really is still in the city. Now I do worry for the retail, for the smaller guys. It is difficult, but look, you see what other big cities have done around the world, and they've converted all those shoe shops, the second and third floors into cool loft apartments. Like, I mean, a bit of investment that way would really bring a bit of life, and you're bringing the young people into the city.
Absolutely. And look, we're the centre hub for food. I think, like, if I'd be having a time out in the old Debenhams, I'd just fill it with food. Like, we're well known for it.
A big food hall, yeah.
Absolutely. And we're brilliant at it. So do more of it. The only thing I could see changing for you guys, if I put my hat on for a second, is that, like your flexible passes, I think you could get quite busy. And I think they might become Monday passes or Tuesday passes or Wednesday passes so that you could fit more people in. Yeah.
Do you know what? We actually spoke about it because even going on our Black Friday, I mean, we sold those 10-day passes. Like, they just went flying. Do you know,
they
so there's
were €10 each, Frank, and you get free coffee.
All right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? It was such an amazing sale, it really was. But I think there's some really good changes and positive changes for people, like mental health wise, work wise. I think the new era, like you say, 2021, I think is going to be an exciting year, not just for this business, but the majority of us.
Yeah, I think people are sick of 2020.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's so over.
I think
last year.
Yeah.
I'll put this out on the 1st of January. So last year. Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much. That was absolutely lovely to talk to you. We are going to do one more and then we are done.
Brilliant.
Hello and welcome to Straight Talking with myself, Sian Horn. I'm coming to you from the club's HQ, Republic of Work on South Mall. And now it's for quick fire questions with Frank, who has joined me for the last 3 episodes. So Frank, hi.
Hi.
It is weird, isn't it, doing it like this? But I kind of like it. So our last episode.
Okay.
Don't get too upset now. So in this last episode, I like to ask just some really quick fire questions. So no more than a sentence. Okay, you can elaborate though. I won't cut you off if
I'm a
you've
talker.
got something to say. Yeah, absolutely. So I might do this. That's just me like going across my neck. But let's start. All right, ready?
Yeah, let's go.
So you work here and you do a bit of work for yourself. Is it everything that you thought it would be when you first came to work at Republic of Work?
I had no idea what I was getting into. Okay. I'll be perfectly honest. I had no idea. DC pitched me this and I was like, okay, I get it, but I don't get it. He said it's like a hotel, but like a gym. So it's membership based, but we accommodate for everyone. I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Let's go for it. And you know what? It's been a roller coaster. It's been up and down. There has been the ups, there has been the downs. But to be honest, it's been fantastic. It's a great career.
Well, you can tell everybody that works here, to be honest, not just yourself, Frank. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, everybody's really happy, which is lovely. So I can take the next question. Would you jump ship? No. Okay, next question. Do you think you can fake it till you make it?
To a certain degree.
Okay, give me those degrees.
There will be a point that you'll meet your match.
Yes.
And you will look like an awful idiot.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened to me yet.
Yeah. Because you're so genuine.
There you go. Look, I think, fake it till you make it, totally. When you're getting going, when you're starting up, like, totally. But then you start learning. You know what I mean? And then you find your groove and off you go.
Actually, the most important thing, keep learning.
Yes.
Keep learning. Business reviews, overrated or understated?
They're really important, I think. I think they're really, really important. It was funny, and I know this is only supposed to be one answer.
No, you're grand.
But my father-in-law called to the house over the weekend and wanted to get a Creole. Casey's Creole in Douglas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The queue was too long, blah, blah, blah. I said, there's something similar where I'm living. And he says, oh, jeez. And he looked it up. And there was one bad review out of 150. And he said, no.
Okay. So definitely. Understated. Best business advice you've ever been given?
Best business advice. That's a good question. I was told one time, to be honest, don't get yourself caught up and don't overpromise.
Yeah.
Because if you overpromise and you underdeliver, there's no way getting back from it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes as well, if you think that you may have failed in that, ask for feedback. Because I know recently, actually, a lady said to me, I thought I was getting more than what I was getting for my money. And I said, where did we go wrong in our advertising or anything? She was like, no, it was advertising was perfect. I overassumed. I just assumed, and so never assume either. That's a really good bit of advice. Never assume. Okay, apart from Google, what are your top 3 websites you refer to most and why?
Oh my God, this is really tough.
I know, I had to take Google out because everybody goes Google.
Yeah, like, what do other people use? I Google everything. So if I was to look for to see if something's legit.
Yes.
Trustpilot. I actually use it quite a lot.
I don't use it, so I'm writing that down.
We get a lot of inquiries coming in, and they could be overseas. And one way to kind of vet them is like, are they actually legit? So pick them out on Trustpilot.
And so Trustpilot does what? You put their name in?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate this. Go on. But it's such a snooper, isn't it? It's like a stalker website. Go on.
Yeah, so like you can just punch in their website, see if they're actually a legit website. I'm sure you can search by... the company name is the way you'd search it. Like, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, Trustpilot. Nike is always top 3 on my list. I'm always on Nike. But anyway, that's my issue.
Your obsession.
It's dreadful. Is there something about you that people would be surprised to know?
I don't know. I'm a dab handy at the gardening.
I know, but I kind of told him that in episode 3. He's so good, though. He's so good.
I don't know, maybe, I suppose, kind of going back to our earlier episode, I was talking about DC having the ability to speak in front of 1,000.
Yes.
And I just have zero confidence in looking down a camera.
Okay.
Zero.
That's just opened up a nice little job for me there, Frank.
There you go.
So I'm gonna watch this space, guys, because I'm going to get you on camera, Frank.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the tools.
Yeah.
Because...
if you asked me for a live now, I'd have a heart attack.
Really?
Heart attack.
And do you know, the weird thing is, everybody feels like that, even people that do it.
Yeah.
So I always say to, like, I was doing, actually, the first ever meeting of the club.
Oh, yeah?
I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, couldn't breathe. I was so nervous I went on Instagram to tell Instagram I was nervous. But I was really, really nervous. Like, so, and I talk all the time online.
Yeah.
So everybody is. I think when you realise that it affects everyone, it takes away half of the issue. But I'm on your case now. We're going to do a bit of practice and I'm going to get you on.
Great.
It's going to be brilliant. Do you have a business crush?
A business crush. So somebody running a business.
Jay Woodard is out
there. Jay, where is he? Yeah. What business?
You have no business in this, Jay.
There is one. There's a fella down in Australia, James Smith, PT.
Oh yeah.
You know James.
I love James.
Oh my God, he is brilliant.
Apart from he called me a liar once.
Did he?
Yeah, because I'm always in calorie deficit and I never lose weight. And he was like, there's no way, you're just such a liar. And I was like, I am not a liar.
Calorie deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. But and I love the guy that he works with as well, Darren.
Yeah.
24.
I just think he's like, I know he's very cutthroat.
You know what he is? He's straight talking.
He's straight talking.
That's what he is.
Exactly.
He's actually in Dublin next year, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tickets on sale now. Give old James Smith a play.
Hashtag ad.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he is great though, and I having been in that industry myself for a long, long time. I think he's great. Straight to the point, and that's what I like. Do you have a book recommendation for us?
Some people mightn't like this, but I recently read The 4-Hour Workweek.
Okay.
Which led to the 4-hour diet.
Yeah.
And I did the 4-hour diet for a month. I lost a stone in August.
Who wrote it?
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. I'm not joking. Straight to stones. Really?
Yeah.
And how does that work then? You only eat for 4 hours?
So my education in nutrition was always about like, okay, small,
Small and often, calorie deficit, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly, yeah. And like that's how you get results, do you know? But I needed something completely different. I needed a kick up the arse. I suppose when you're working in the industry for so long,
yes.
You're always very, very good.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point of like, okay, I need to start fresh.
Yeah.
So it's 3 meals a day.
Okay.
It's protein, legumes, and green veg. 3 meals.
Okay.
There's a bit of science to it now. There's like you're drinking X amount of water and
that's fine.
A bit of exercise. And the thing is, you don't have to kill yourself. You're not in the gym 5 days of the week. But for me, like I'm very, very bad when it gets to 7 o'clock in the evening. In that my sugar levels drop and I come into cranky Frankie.
Okay. Would you not just go to bed, Frank?
2 kids.
Oh no, 2 kids. Yeah.
So yeah, sugar levels drop and I just go crazy. I'm just so odd and grumpy. So Sue actually has snacks in the car for me, kind of a thing. Like I'm like a child.
Yeah. It's all right. I'm married too. Don't panic.
Yeah.
We all do that shit.
Yeah, keep them happy.
Absolutely.
So it was fantastic. Loads of energy. You have 1 cheat day in the week.
Okay.
So usually on a Saturday, and it was just brilliant.
Just worked for you.
I
I think different things work for different people, but I'm definitely going to buy the book. Put it that way. Yeah. No, that sounds good. Something new, I think, is always good. Change it up so your body doesn't know what's coming, or your brain, for that matter. Are you a podcast listener?
I am. But I'm very seasonal in a way.
Okay.
Not as in like I listen to them in summer.
Okay.
But
and what podcasts? What would be like your top 3 podcasts?
So the top 3, I actually saw this on Spotify recently. Last week when they sent out what you listen to.
Don't tell Jay because he hates those top 10 Spotifys.
I wonder why. I do love Jay and Muriel's podcast. I'm not a marketing person at all, but like I actually learned stuff out of it.
Yeah.
I listen to the Everything Coworking podcast.
Okay.
And I swear to God, if you're going out opening a co-working space anytime soon, that is how you start the business.
Brilliant.
It was a game changer, and my only regret is that I started listening to it 2 years into working in Republic Work.
Okay.
It would have been, I swear, it would have.
But this is what I say to people, and this is why, we have some members in the club that haven't started their businesses yet, but actually they're going to get so much out of it.
Totally.
Because it's like you say, if you'd listened to that 2 years ago, or if I had a club that I could join 10 years ago with people that have been doing it for 10 years, God, would a life have been different?
It would just speed up the whole process.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. What would you say your biggest achievement in business is to date?
I take an awful lot of pride in Republic Work.
Yes.
So I'm not a founder. I'm not the CEO of the company. I'm the general manager of the company. Yet.
I can't do that evil laugh. Go on.
But I treat the business as if it's my own, and I think that's the reason Republic Work has been a success in a sense, is that like when you treat it like your own, you're fully invested. I don't believe in this whole thing that you have to work like 60, 70, 80 hours a week to make something a success. Now, obviously, there's part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer of like, okay, give it everything you got, and you'll reap the reward. And I think 4 years in now, okay,
COVID aside, we've done a good job so far.
No, I think you have. It's amazing. And I suppose, you can't say Republic of Work now, but what would be your favourite brand or business?
There's loads out there at the moment. There's some really, really cool ones. Of late, and it's a small obsession, if anybody wants to give me a Christmas present, Gym Plus Coffee.
Okay,
I think they are so cool.
And such nice guys as well.
And such nice guys. The guys have done talks here.
Yes.
They came down from Dublin for it and all of this. And when people travel to do our talks, it's like, okay, they like it. They're in. But I think the whole thing about the whole business, where it started, two guys like going to the gym, they grab a coffee after the training session, and it's really nice. It wears really well.
And they've created such an amazing culture.
It's a culture now that
absolutely.
people, yeah.
And with that in mind, I suppose, what's for you? I suppose, what have you learned about yourself over this year?
It's been a difficult year. Naturally, I think everybody's in the same boat. But it's how we're dealing with those stresses.
Yeah.
Like, we had a small baby in August to add to the mix, We have another small baby. She's still a baby.
Yes.
She'll be 2 in February. So to add that into everything else, it's just how you deal with those stresses. And I think talking with your staff and being very, very open and honest and asking your staff as well.
Absolutely.
How they're actually feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we do one-to-ones on a weekly basis where I sit down for 30 minutes, and it can be very much like, okay, what did you get done this week? What are you doing next week? But there's a section of that is like, how are you this week?
Yeah.
And it is really important to ask the questions and to vocalise it as well. Because, look, we've all had challenging times. We've all been stressed. We've all been like, oh, God, what if? But I've learned that I handle pressure slightly different.
Okay.
I most certainly, I'm after going back to the old way of doing it, but like, I have to vent on the bike.
Okay.
Back on the bike. I do an awful lot of cycling. And for me, like, when I say, Sue, I'm going out on the bike, and she says, okay.
Enjoy.
See you later.
Come back in a better mood.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours later, I'm like,
Okay. Sue loves the bike too, honestly. Sue loves the bike too.
Yeah, we'll see now when I'm going to buy a new next year.
Listen, Frank, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you for
I know
having me.
you're really busy here. That was great. Thank you. And I'm so glad to have you on the first 4 episodes of Straight Talking.
Excellent.